Hello there guys and welcome to another episode of the Kraken Interleagues. So I was just checking the weather forecast and I just saw that rain is going to come out in the race, and at that point the rain will come out at the second half of the race. I don't know which lap, but it'll be beyond lap 11. And before that I just chose the balanced set of tire location, so I'll have 3 soft tires. Meanwhile I was just grabbing my dry setup, but I decided to just add a little bit of rear wing because I knew that it's going to rain in the end of the race, and I decided to not just go really without any wing and not having grip during these rainy laps. And I was just checking how much the wing was between the full wets and the dry setup, and also I was just checking about the other things about the setup, for example the suspension and the suspension geometry and the transmission. And I decided to just add from 8.4 to like 8.13 I think so. And I'll have a little bit of a disadvantage in the straights, but I'll have lots of cornering speed. And well, today I'm going to use all of my 3 sets of soft tires instead of just 2 in qualifying, because I think that I won't use in the race. I'll start on hard, and if there's safety car right before rain comes out, I'll rather stay out and just wait until the rain begins and box for intermediate. And I just crashed into the pit lane exit, but fortunately I didn't have any damage. I was just checking to the engineer if I really had damage, and I didn't have, so well, I decided to continue on. And well, oh yeah, I was going to say that I just learned from Monza in Elite League Racing Cup at round 11 in season 6 that when rain was coming out, safety car has been deployed, and I just boxed for soft tires, but then rain came out during safety car. I boxed for intermediate, so that meant that boxing for soft tires wasn't necessary. So yeah, I'll take that in mind, and I'll just go for intermediates and not go for another slick tires when safety car comes out. But I'll just stay out if rain still doesn't come out, but the safety car will end like 2 or 1 lap before the rain comes out, and I just going to go for intermediate. But it's like, for example, 5 laps or even 7 laps, I'll just box for medium tires. So well, here we are beginning our flying lap, our first attempt for our flying lap into I don't know what to say. I think this is Blanchimont, and then into the post stop chicane we just exit very decently. The RS is wide open, and we begin for our first flying lap. And here we are into Las Walls, breaking into 100-meter mark. I just went a little bit wide, then into turn 2, it's just like a king going downhill, then into Aarhus and Radion, those iconic corners. I'm just going into those corners very smoothly, but unfortunately they weren't perfectly. The rest is wide open, and then heading to the Lecombe. I was just going to get really fast into the straight, but unfortunately I wasn't that fast because of my rear wing. And then into Lecombe, I was just going really decently until that exit, which was pretty bad, and then into that corner, and I was just going very decently. And then to the no-name corner, I was just going very smoothly and a little bit cautious because yeah, I didn't want to finish that lap. And then into the one, and also I was just getting used of that new setup, and I was just a little bit nervous and a little bit like getting used off because my muscle memory wasn't too used off. So then here we are into the Blanchimont corner, going flat out, very flat out, and even more flat out because we have more rear wing, and then into the post stop chicane, braking into the 100-meter mark. Just before that thing, we just getting these corners really good. We just get into the 4th gear, and then DRS is wide open. We set a lap time of 1:44.617, which puts us into 3rd position. So I was just trying to do another lap because I was just seeing that I was just improving by 1.5 tenths, and then going into Aarhus in Radion. Unfortunately, I just invalidated the lap time, and that meant that the lap time has been ruined. So yeah, I have to enter the garage and go for another softs, and those softs are the new ones. So let's get into our second flying lap. While I was on my second flying lap, improving my lap time, and then into 4, I just touched the curb so much that I just spun and did a 270-degree spin, and unfortunately that meant our lap time has been destroyedly ruined. And to make things worse, I just spun way even like another time. I was just trying to say, and unfortunately our lap time got invalidated, and also the next one, and I just got my tires overcooked, and yeah, it was just pretty bad. And yeah, I had a little bit plugged one TW driver, and I hope he wasn't on his flying lap. And I was just going to say that my muscle memory about Spa is just a bit present. Ooh, I just destroyed my front wing. Thank God I didn't DNF in qualifying, and meanwhile I was just reversing all the way to the pit lane, and yeah, it was a bit funny thing I did, and yeah, it was just a little bit funny, and I decided to just go into a runoff area just to leave him a little bit of space and giving him room to make the flying lap. And meanwhile, one of my teammates are approaching to get into the post-stop chicane where I am going to get there. And I was going to say that I had Ragnaroks minutes before that qualifying session, and that's why I was a bit fresh about Spa. Although the Ragnaroks were into the rain, and unfortunately I just blocked Josgard, and I decided to just go forwards instead of in reverse, and I decided to enter the pit lane, but unfortunately we just crashed into the barriers, but our wing has been destroyed. So, well, the damage has been already done before that thing. So, well, let's enter the garage and hope we can get a decent final flying lap. At least we can improve for a 10.42. So then, heading to our final flying lap, I just left the garage at the 2-minute 10 mark instead of the 2 minutes because I wouldn't reach on time. And as you could see, I was just having a little bit of a snap of oversteer before heading on my flying lap, and then into turn 1 into the source. I just improved by a 10.5, and we see that Kiro is out of the qualifying session. I think he has just retired because he has done the lap time, or I think he's destroyed it and ruined it and decided to just retire from the session. And we're seeing that we're now improving by 0.2 of a second. And then into Lecombe, let's see if we can improve more, but unfortunately our lap time got invalidated, and that meant that I have to retire from the race. I mean, for the qualifying section. Ah, damn it, I just getting confused a little bit. But yes, you could understand. Yeah, I just got invalidated my lap, and I decided to retire from the qualifying session and not go to the pit lane in order to not waste time from the other drivers. So let's get into the results. So here we are with the qualifying results. We see that Kiroi is out of the top 14 That's just terrible for him in the qualifying session. Oh wait, we see that he just qualified 9th. Oh yeah, I'm so sorry about that, Kiroi. Sorry, I just didn't saw about the results. So, Jose is the fastest man in the qualifying session, out qualifying Puck by more than a second. 1 second faster than the second place. That's just dominant. We haven't seen that thing since Monaco 88 with Senna and Prost. But then Stuck Emilion qualified 3rd. It's a 4.56 for THR. Then Niki Lauda, well, the player who uses that name of a 3-time world champion, qualifies 7th place. Griko is in 8th. My teammate Kiroi, as I said before, qualified 9th. Inquisidor in 10th. Valiant is in 11th. Senna is in 12th. Spectre in 13th, and Jovan completes the top 14. Meanwhile, the others are just irrelevant drivers that are not going to be shown a lot in this video. So let's just get into the formation lap. Before getting into the formation lap, let's just go to the strategy of the race. So the strategy for the race will be a different one as the game offers you. We're just going to start with hard tires instead of the medium tires, because I'm just seeing that the hard tires can reach on time and not being into a tire cliff, and still the rain will reach out and be on intermediate. And I think the rain will reach out earlier than expected because, well, by experience. Meanwhile, the car setup, I just lowered a bit with the rear tire pressure, and also I just put the front tire pressure a little bit up, and then into the fuel load I just underfueled down to 50 kilograms of fuel. Although that's not a lot of underfuel compared to the other races I did, but I just decided to just go a little bit because, yeah, I was just afraid that the safety car won't happen and we might not have to lift enclosed, and I don't want to lift enclosed because, well, you know, the straights, and I have that setup with big wings, and yeah, I don't want to lift enclosed and to not do this a lot. We are just going to underfill a little bit, and we're just going to wait until the rain comes out, and we are going to consume a little bit less fuel than normally. So let's get into the formation lap. So meanwhile we're just ready, well, let's begin the formation lap and let's just play the reaction game, reacting after the player behind, well, in front of me started the launch. In this case, my teammate Josgard. Meanwhile, we're just hitting up our tires. We see that Stroke has spun, but that doesn't matter for him unless he's crashed with another driver, because if you crash with another driver in the formation lap, you get your grid slot reset and you will be in a disadvantage, because first your grid slot will be in a disadvantage, and also you will have your tires very cold, so you might have a terrible start unless you know how to execute a great start with those conditions. Meanwhile, we're just heating up our tires, preventing the other cars to crash with us. And meanwhile, in the championship standings, ERL are just dominating in the constructors championship, I think so, and THR, we're just trying to reach ERL because Stark is just very fast. He has won 2 races out of 2 races for now. So, and also SRS are very strong, and Jose is just very strong. As you could see in Portugal, he was so faster than me, so they can fight for the lead of the Constructors Championship. And meanwhile, maybe if we can join the fight, but still I think we will be in 3rd position. But still, we're just cleaning up our tires and focusing on the race, because we just want the win, and not just only podiums or points. We just want the win, or the 1, 2, 3, 4 for the team. Meanwhile, we're just cleaning up our tires very aggressively, and unfortunately we just spun but didn't crash into a wall or with another driver. Although crashing into a wall won't matter a lot in this formation lap, because you don't have any damage What I'm saying is that the damage is turned off during the formation lap, so that means that if you crash into the wall, the only thing that you will have affected will be the tires, because they're just going to wear out, and they're just going to start at, for example, like 5 or 10% of wear instead of 2 or 3 or 4%. Meanwhile, we're just going to pack our grid slots. Meanwhile, we're just trying to aggressively hit up our I was going to say soft tires, but as a forces habit, but I'm just going to hit up our hard tires aggressively, going into 90 degrees Celsius, because I don't think we're just going to be really soon the race start and tires are just going to get cold. Meanwhile, yeah, it was just a little bit cut, and we're just waiting for all the cars to be parked. Meanwhile, we're just waiting his truck, and we're just pointing towards the middle of the track, slightly to the right, and the 5 red lights, I mean, are just going to be started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights have turned on, and it lights out, and away we go. That was a decent start for us, and we're just maintaining our 5th position, but unfortunately someone has a greater start, and I decided to just break a bit earlier into turn 1, and unfortunately I just crashed with someone, and we see exiting to turn 1, we see that just got a race spot. Oh my goodness, we just crashed with someone. Oh my goodness, I was just a bit scared that I couldn't react. I was just choked, and it's just rear-ended by someone, but that one who rear-ended me was the big team, because I think he just got his front wing turned apart, heading to Camel straight into the combo. Let's see who's going to get involved in a crash, but we see that, oh my gonna be Valiant is on a snap of oversteer, took the corner badly, and we're just going to outbrake Inquisidor, but unfortunately we just locked up the brakes and we just knocked him out of the track, and they gave us our warning, obviously. And meanwhile, we've been overtaken by Jovan, dropping down to 8th position, and then heading to 4th. Let's see who gets involved into a spin or a crash. No one, so that's now clean. So, well, let's head into lap 2, heading to those corners, and the campus corners, I think so. And meanwhile, we see that Joe packs into 4th. I don't know who are those drivers involved, and we see that exiting that first double corner, and we see that there's no yellow flags into the campus corner, and virtual safety car has now deployed, and we're just seeing that I don't know, no one is out of the race, so that means that, well, we're just going to obey the delta speed limit, and well, we're just heating up our tires, and fortunately we don't need to lift and coast our fuel anymore. So, well, let's head until the end of the safety car. Well, I think they're just going to end on this lap, and we see that Aldo, my teammate, has gone into the pits. I don't know if he was involved into a crash, and if he's got involved and was going to repair the damage for his front wing, I don't know, he may be in a disadvantage. And meanwhile, virtual safety car is ending into Radion, and unfortunately I just cut the corner and got a warning by exceeding the track limits. So yeah, I have to be a little bit careful, because I don't want to get 2 more warnings. The second, maybe a little bit less relevant, and we see that, ooh, yeah, they're just battle for, oh my goodness, we see that Valiant has spun, and I think he's out of the point, and we're now into 7th place, and we see that Niki Lauda and Jovan are just fighting for 5th position into the no-name corner, then into 4 heading, and we see that Lauda has just pushed Jovan into the outside, I mean the inside of the track, and we see that Jovan has won the fight, and Lauda has been overtaken by him, and we're just going into the campus corners, not giving up, trying to re-overtake Jovan, and we see that Valiant is out of the race. He's the first retire of the race, and that cost another virtual safety car heading into the Stavelot corner, and well, poor Valiant is the first retirement of this race. Meanwhile, we just clean up our tires, well, respecting the delta pace, and also we're just going to consume less fuel during this virtual safety car because, well, we're just going to be slower and, well, you know, we're just going to consume less fuel and we're just going to have positive fuel amounts. So we won't need to do lift and coast anymore, unless they just pull it out literally in a corner and I have to go in a straight really fast because I have to deploy I think even more ERS because I have higher wings, especially the rear wings. I have like 816 I think, so I don't know, I just forgot exactly which are the setup of the wings, and virtual safety car has ended. I got the ERS immediately, but unfortunately Laura has also too, and I couldn't overtake him easily, and I didn't deploy my ERS because I knew I wasn't going to overtake him, but he just took the leg combo badly, and well, we'll see if Lauda is going to commit another mistake, and he has done, and we see that Jovan has a 3-second time penalty, and we're just seeing that Lauda has gone a bit wide into the Crucelle, and we're just heading into the no-name corner. We just gone a bit wide, not touching the apex of that corner, and then heading to that king before the fourth corner, and we're just heading it smoothly, going a bit wide, fortunately not getting a warning, the second out of 3 warnings before the penalty, and we're seeing into the campus corner, going very inside, touching the apex too much, but still not going too much on the throttle because we will spin otherwise. So I don't know what to say, but well, we're just seeing that Lauda has gone a bit wide exiting Stavelot, and I think he might lose a little bit of hundredths of a second, and then heading into Blanchimont, I think he might still get DRS because he's in a 1 second gap, and yes, he might get DRS as well as myself. And Buck sets the fastest lap of 1 minute and 30 seconds. We see that Struck has set another fastest lap, I mean 150, and Struck 148. Meanwhile, we just set a lap time of 150.9, and we're seeing that Lauda is just trying to overtake Jovan because Jovan doesn't have DRS and Lauda will have, and unfortunately I'll neither have DRS as well as Jovan. So yeah, it was just terrible. I will just only watch them fight and not getting involved into that fight. So well, we're just going to be in P7. Meanwhile, into the combe, we're just seeing that Lauda is just trying to overtake Jovan around the outside, but he was just too far behind him that he couldn't overtake. And meanwhile, he's just continuing the fight, getting to the Crucelle, and I think he's just going to lock the brakes. And yes, he did indeed got a bit wide, then heading to no-name corner. We're just think that he just touched a little bit of apex and then into one. I think they're just going to get very smooth as possible, and meanwhile I wasn't so fast, and then heading to the curbs with the campus corners, and we see that, oh my god, we just touched the curbs and we just locked our rear brakes and spun all the way into a runoff area. Yeah, it's just terrible. That was just terrible. We just dropped down to the order, although we didn't lose any positions. Unfortunately, we just lost that advantage we have, and although I was pretty far ahead of Inquisitor, unfortunately I was really far behind Lauda and Jovan, so that meant that I am down of that 4th position, and we see that Joe sets the fastest lap of 1 minute and 47 seconds. So yeah, that was just pretty unfortunate for me. I didn't went careful into those curves. I was just went too aggressive and spun. Meanwhile, on lap 9, I was just catching Niki Lauda, and on lap 6, Kriko spun into the campus corner, and we see that Lauda has spun into the combe, and we're seeing that we have climbed up a place after Lauda spun, and we see that it must have the race, and we see that the safety car has been deployed, and we're seeing if it's the full safety car which is deployed, and that means that we're just going to box for medium tires. And although I just said that rain will come out and I will stay out, but the safety car has been deployed way early, and I don't know if my tires will reach until the rain, or if the rain isn't as heavy to go for intermediates. Maybe we cannot do that thing because it's illegal to be with hard tires all about the race. Well, it's illegal to not make a pit stop unless it's rain, but yeah, it's just going to be really hard decision, and I just decided to go with medium tires. Well, it wasn't really hard decision because yeah, I just obviously chose that thing, and well, if rain is going to come out in like 8 or 7 laps, yeah, it's maybe a good decision. Meanwhile, we're just going to box for medium tires, and well, I was going to say that Grico spun into the campus corners and dropped into 6th position, now 5th position, and we're seeing that we almost crashed into the wall, going to pit for medium tires, although the others will just box for hard tires because they were just going with medium. So yeah, if they're just going with mediums, they just will go for hard tires. Meanwhile, I'm just going from hard to mediums. So we're just exiting the pit lane, and well, hope we can do some decent performance until the rain comes out, and we're just going to bring up the front wing and do some performance in the intermediate conditions. Meanwhile, we're just going to heat up our tires and come to the bunched up field. Well, to the bunching up field, not to the bunched up. And we see that Senna has gone into soft tires. I think he thinks that rain is going to come out really soon, and he doesn't want to waste any of his soft tires, and he was going to take the chance. I don't know if it's going to make a great mistake, but I don't know. Let's just see in the few laps. So safety car is in this lap, safety car is in this lap. We're just heating up tires aggressively because it's just going down into 79 degrees Celsius, just around the corner of being out of the optimal temperature, and it's just going out the tires. That's just pretty bad for us because we won't have a great relaunch if we don't have optimal temperature, optimal working tires, and it could be worse if we were just going with our hard tires. Meanwhile, we just technically in 5th position because Jovan has a 3-second time penalty and he's 3 seconds behind. Well, I'm 3 seconds behind him, so his penalty will be really affected and extremely affected if the field keeps being bunched up. And meanwhile, the safety car has now ended. We're just going to return racing, and here we are for lap 12, heading to La Sauce. Let's see if there's going to be carnage. No, there wasn't. Pretty clean. Great job for those drivers, being honest. And we're just trying to catch Jovan to overtake him in some in a few laps, or in this lap maybe. And we're just trying to overtake him into the Camel Straight, but I decided to not do it because it will be an unnecessary risk, and that also will deploy all of my ERS, and also due to me being on a higher wing, that meant that I won't have enough straight line speed to overtake him, and we might end up in making a contact. And meanwhile, heading to the Bruxelles corner, we think that Johan has gone a bit wide. I was just trying to go to the inside, which is going to turn into the outside, but I decided to back off a bit, and heading to one corner I just decided to just go a little bit cautiously because I'm just trying to pressurize Jovan and make him a mistake. Meanwhile, into the campus corners, we're just touching the apex a lot, but still being cautiously in this corner because I don't want to press the turtle too much, or else I'll spin, as I said in previous laps. Meanwhile, into the Stavelot corner, we're just heading flat out. Jovan touching lots of curbs. I think he might lose a little bit of tenths or even 100ths of a second. And then heading to the Blanchemont corner, we're just trying to overtake him around the outside, but unfortunately I couldn't do that thing, and oh my goodness me, I just almost crashed into him, and I was really great evading that crash. Then heading to lap 13 into the source, I think they're just going to get out cleanly, and I think I'll be the only one who will win, who will go wide. But no, I didn't, so that's just pretty good. Meanwhile, we're just trying to be maintained to that pace with Jovan until the DRS lap, which is going to be the next one. Now, lap 14, DRS is now enabled. Heading to La Sauce, I was now less than a second behind him, so I have now DRS with Jovan, and I was just planning to overtake him very easily into the camel straight. I decided to save my ERS all the way until the camel straight, deploying all of my ERS, I think almost all of it, because the DRS will be a little bit faster. Then heading to the camel straight, I was just trying to overtake him around the outside, touching the wall, touching the grass, have the car in the grass, and almost damaging my car, but fortunately I didn't have any damages with my car, and that was a very epic overtake with Jovan. I think he just got shocked about it, because I just overtook him in a very unusual way. And heading into a no-name corner, I was now more than 2/10 behind. Well, Jovan was more than 2/10 behind him. I was going to say 3/10. Now he's 3/10. Now 4. Now half a second. And well, heading to the campus corner, I was now really fast. And now he was almost a second behind me. And heading to the Starlord corner, I was now like 7/10 behind me, and wow, what a dominance I'm just doing. And meanwhile, I'm just technically in 4th position, because Kriko has a 3-second time penalty and he's less than 3 seconds ahead of me, so that means that the penalty will be affected. And meanwhile, to make things worse for Jovan, he has another 3-second time penalty, so he has 6 seconds of penalties accumulated. So let's catch Kriko and overtake him in the next few laps. So into lap 16, I was now ahead of Kriko if penalties get applied, so I was trying to get ahead of Buck, who is my future teammate of Season 7 of Elite League Racing Cup. He'll race with me at Haas in that league, and if you want to see me racing with him, you can join my Twitch session. The link is in the description down below. So now lap 17, wishing that the rain has started to fall out, so I decided to just go for intermediate at this lap, because I decided to go for intermediates, of course. And well, I was thinking that the rain was going to get only heavier and heavier, but my engineer, who was talking in my voice chat, said that no, I should stay out. I should stay out. So yeah, I was a bit unsure about him, about his decision to myself. So yeah, I was at 1 point. Oh no, I just got another track limit warning, and well, I was going to say that I was trying to go for intermediates. I wasn't trusting him, but I was barely obeying him. Meanwhile, I was way ahead of his gap of the 3 seconds, and Kriko is going to get his penalty affected. And meanwhile, into 1, we're seeing that we're having massive loss of grip, of course, because of rain. And we're seeing into the campus corner that Kriko is just doing those corners very decently. And then heading to the star lot, we're just seeing that he's doing well in those conditions. And although the rain is going to get only worse and grip is going to get worse, although the rain isn't going to get as heavy, because I was surprised that the rain wasn't going to get so heavy. It was just a little bit light, but I was still very unsure if I was about to go for intermediate. No one is going for intermediate, so yeah, that meant that I wasn't in a disadvantage. So yeah, lap 18, I was thinking that it would be time to go for intermediates, but engineer talking said that no, it was still not time, we should stay out. And well, I was barely obeying him, and I don't know if I could trust him or not. I decided to trust him, taking the gamble, and I don't know, we should gamble it, and I don't know, maybe we will get it wrong or something else. Meanwhile, we're just 1.5 seconds behind Kriko, and we're now pretty far away. We're not having straight line speed. And meanwhile, Giovanni starts trying to overtake us, and meanwhile there was just yellow flags, now green flags, and I don't know who was that guy who provoked the yellow flags. So hiccup, sorry. And then Puck is just trying to be as fast as possible to not get his penalty affected, and not drop down a place and get the podium, and he's just trying to be really fast because he's just trying to be 3 seconds ahead of me, and we see that Rico has made a mistake, and oh my goodness, I think he just felt the pressure for myself because he was just going a little bit fast, but unfortunately into those corners, because there's no grip, it's easier to make a mistake, and he made that mistake. So I'm now into 4th position physically, and meanwhile we see that Stroke doesn't have a penalty, so we are just seeing that he's on the soft tires, but I don't know if he's going to box, and we see that he is going to box, but I don't know which stars will he box, and my engineer is just saying that we just seen, and we see that the box has just took the corner badly, and he's now in 3 seconds, less than 3 seconds ahead of me, so that means that the penalty is going to be affected, and we see that Stock has gone into intermediates. I was now less sure, and I was just wanting to box for intermediates, although the rain isn't coming out heavier, but my engineer was still insisting me to not box for intermediates, and also was just trying to say me that I have to deploy all of my ERS because the race is about to finish. And also I decided to just go up with the downforce with the front wing from 8 to 13, and to get a little bit more of a frontal grip and not a lot of oversteer. Meanwhile Buck is now less than 3 seconds ahead of me, so that means that I'll get 2nd place unless he is now more than 3 seconds ahead of me. So he needs to pick up the pace in order to get his 2nd place, or else he will lose for myself. So heading to the campus corners, we're seeing that despite those conditions and the lack of grip, we're just seeing that Buck and myself were just doing those corners a little bit decently, and doing those corners a little bit cautiously, but still very well in those corners, executing very well in those conditions. Meanwhile, it's going to be 3 laps to go, so let's see if we're going to have any nice surprises. But well, I decided to stay out and barely obey his orders, and I was just saying that, well, I think I should stay out now because the rain isn't coming and isn't coming heavier, so that means that I should stay out, and unfortunately I just went a bit wide into turn 1, lap 20. So well, let's see if we're just going to maintain that gap with Buck, and meanwhile we just going to deploy all of my ERS into the next lap, although my engineer said that I should deploy all of it now, and that's what I did. Deploying all of my ERS in the Camel Straight because I didn't have lots of straight line speed, and I just went a bit wide into the comb, so well, I have to go really cautious, but still we have to be really fast, or we might spawn, or we might get more than 3 seconds behind him and his penalty wouldn't be affected, and we will finish 3rd place. But we're seeing that the DRS is now disabled. The DRS is now disabled, so that means that the rain is going to get heavier and heavier, so that means that we are going to lose a little bit more of grip, but still I decided to just stay out. And poor Struck, I think he boxed too early, and we're just trying to be really cautious but still fast, as I said previously in those corners before. We see that Josgard is out of the race. No, my teammate Josgard is out of the race. That's just pretty bad for our team, and meanwhile I'm just carrying the whole team because I'm not seeing none of my teammates in the top 5. And that means that I'm just the only one carrying all the team and on the podium positions, and meanwhile I'm just trying to get 2nd place, maintaining the gap of 3 seconds behind Buck. So here we are now into the final lap of the race. I was just maintaining that gap with Buck and myself, although unfortunately I was just more than 2.5 seconds, so that means that I was in danger to lose the 2nd place, and we're seeing into exit of the Lecom that Buck has just spun. Buck has spun and has crashed into the wall. His rear end has crashed into the wall, and he is now dropped out of the order, and that means that now I am physically in 2nd place, so that means that my that my gap with Buck has been already faded away, so that means that I'm now safe to get second place unless I spin, and I'm just trying to get really cautious. As you could see, I was just getting so slow into one corner, because as you can see, the rain is getting so heavy that if there was 5 laps of racing more, I would box for intermediates, and well, that didn't happen because it's now 22 laps, the final lap, I mean, and our tires are at 65% of where, I don't know how could I manage to do that thing. And meanwhile, Struck is now in 5th position, has already come back a little bit, although he might lose a little bit of position because of myself. Meanwhile, we're just going to cross the line to finish second place, although unfortunately we didn't win the race because Joss is the winner with the fastest lap, so he was just pretty dominant, and most of the THR members were congratulating me for that great performance, finishing second place in those conditions. And meanwhile, Struck Emilio didn't have any penalties and got ascended, promoted into 3rd position after those drivers ahead of him got penalties applied. Got their penalties applied, I mean, and well, that was just pretty good race. What a crazy race, to be honest, and I was pretty proud of it, because look at that thing. I couldn't believe that I would be racing on these conditions. Yeah, thank God I just trust with my engineer, Darking, and my temporal engineer, because he was just helping me in the Xbox voice chat, and well, that was just pretty good performance for myself, and thanks to the help with Darking, thank you for that thing. And meanwhile, we're just waiting until Kankar finishes the race, because he's just pretty far away from the pace. And I don't know how could I get those mediums to the finish line, because they were at 65% of tire wear, and I did 13 laps more laps than with the hard tires. So although if it was going to get extreme into extreme dries, the medium tires wouldn't get into the end of the race, because I would have even more grip and I would try way faster, and the tires will get really destroyed. So yeah, that's how I could maintain those medium tires for 13 laps and still at 65%, almost reaching to the tire cliff, I mean. And wow, what a race, what a race. So well, that's the end of this race, and we're seeing that Kankar is finishing more than a minute behind Senkai. What a terrible race for SRS, well, for the Jose's teammates, because SRS was having up and down results. Joe's winning the race with the fastest lap, meanwhile their teammates going the same as my teammates of THR, although the driver of the day is Kankar. What? The driver of the day? That's just pretty weird. Well, let's see the podium ceremony. So here it is, the race results. Jose, myself, and Stockemillion both finished in the podium position. Jose having a dominant win, doing a hat trick or even a Grand Chelem, because I didn't remember seeing him outside of the lead of the race. So he got fastest lap, pole position, and the win, and maybe leading every single lap of the race. So he might have a Grand Chelem. Meanwhile, outside of the top 3 but inside of the top 10 are Jovan, Nicky Lauda, Buck, my future teammate, Kriko, Inquisidor, and my teammates, Kiroi and Aldoemo. Poor Josgard, who got recharged from the race. And meanwhile, outside the top 10 are Senna, Spectre, Spider, Bernie, and Lotto, who complete the top 14. And, well guys, if you like this video, if you enjoyed this thing, hope you can give a like to this video, and if you want to be a part of the Mexico Post, you can subscribe to this channel, and also you can turn on the notifications if you don't want to miss any of my videos. And also you can join my Discord server or even visit my Twitch page, which those links are in the description down below. So, hope you have a nice day. Goodbye.